All right, guys. Quality win over a really quality team and program. We know how good Wisconsin is, how consistent they've been, and how well coached they are. Obviously, they had an emotional win a couple nights ago, so I think I give our guys a lot of credit. I thought outside of the turnovers there early and some of the sloppy plays on that in that particular area, I was really pleased with our effort here. And most importantly, we had a good week. Had a road win, tough win in the middle of the week, and then finished up with a home win.
Chris, I know the points per possession were about where you guys have been all season, but you put up what you put up and you get what you get from EJ against the defense you told us yesterday you consider elite. What did you like about what you got from your team at that end of the court?
Offensively, you're saying?
Yeah.
Listen, I think, Adam, we've been really, outside of our turnovers, we've been, one of the best offensive teams in the country, even in spite of our turnovers, really. We have a top 10 offense again. We'll see if it can be consistent with that, Adam. But our versatility on the front line really helps. And then if our guard play can continue to grow, I thought we had some good moments from some of those guys tonight. That will really help us continue to have an elite offense.
And when EJ is scoring the way that he was tonight, and we've seen it at times this season, but what does that do as far as taking maybe some of the burden off some of the other guys and just like letting guys find their roles instead of having to play out of their comfort? Yeah,
he's such a weapon. I mean, the kid can roll out of bed and get you 15 or 20. That's just how he's wired. And he's always been that way, and we've been able to move him around and play him in a lot of different positions schematically with his increased versatility. And I think that's what helps, because I think if you just put him in one or two spots, that's going to limit him. So he's really taken advantage, I think, of just the fact that he's gotten a lot better and improved, and his teammates' ability also to find him in different spots and move him around on the floor.
Coach, some of this was obviously they missed a lot of shots today, but you guys ended up out-rebounding them by 21 today. How big of an emphasis was that, and just how important was that, given that on paper they're a bigger team than you guys?
Yeah, no, I think we tend to make a lot of a big deal out of big guys. I think I get your question, because as you know, our two biggest keys right now, or two biggest challenges, have been defensive rebounding to start the season, as we talked about, and turnovers. And so it was I appreciate the question, because it was a major point of emphasis. It's kind of how I think were able to get back in the Indiana game a little bit. Now every team's different at home, but that was a major key, is keeping them off the glass. And I thought our zone helped us. You always worry about that in a zone. I thought our zone helped us, but our defensive rebound and our turnovers, those are like the two areas as coaches right now where we got to figure out how to get better in those areas.
And Coach, EJ just told us, he said, when we run our stuff, I feel like we're the best team in the nation easily. I just wonder, what's your reaction to that quote, and what do you make of that confidence from EJ and how you guys are playing right now?
Well, I mean, I love confident players, but I haven't seen every team in the country, and I'm just worried about, can we be the best version of us? But yeah, listen, I'll take a confident player over a player who doubts himself any day. I love confident players.
So the defensive rebounding and turnovers today were not issues. They've been issues with Florida, Seton Hall, a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Those qualities, to me, epitomize a tough team. How do you rate a tough team, and do you think you are a tough team, or you need to be a tougher team?
We were not early. Got bumped off plays.
Today early?
Today early. We were not. No, I thought we were not, and it's my fault. I thought we were really soft with the ball early. Really soft with the ball early. Some of those turnovers were caused because they're physical, but I thought early we were really soft with the ball. And we've got to play better, and I obviously didn't get that message across. We tried to our guys. We rounded into form and played with more force offensively, but still 14 turnovers, that's higher than I'd like for it to be honest with you. The defensive rebounding was good today. It was good.
When you were down 6 or whatever it was early, it was turnovers, and it looked to me like you were taking too many threes, which I think if you ask Greg Gard, he'd like you to take a lot of threes and turn it over. Then you started driving it from the post. Was that something you adjusted in the timeout or just did better off the pregame scouting?
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you on attacking the paint for sure, but and the turnovers. I don't know that we were taking too many threes. We're always going to take a lot of threes. I think we've talked about that. That's always going to be a part of our style and how we play. I think it's a really important part of the game, but we can get a little three happy at times. I don't know if we were in that stretch. Maybe we were, but the turnovers were an issue.
With EJ, the two turnovers early, and then he kind of found his rhythm a little bit. Had possession. How important was that to see that much improvement, especially with that being the emphasis for EJ over the past year?
Yeah, because we've talked to EJ, and Ryan Peden put a chart together looking at guys at his position in the past and turnover rate and those kind of things. So EJ's aware. You don't want to, you want kids to be aware of it and understand, hey, these are specific ways they can get better. At the same time, he's got to play with some aggressiveness, so it can't freeze him up. There's a balance there. It's like a quarterback throwing interceptions. I think there is a balance. You don't want it to take away from his aggressiveness. So I think that's going to be a challenge for him. He's handling the ball way more in positions than what he did last year. So his turnovers are naturally going to be increased. But he also had 4 assists today, which were good to see. And he's getting better in that area.
And I guess defensively, especially, limiting Wisconsin to like 33% shooting. Was there a different level of aggressiveness? It's not like you guys forced a lot of turnovers, but it seems like they were getting a lot of difficult shots.
They were. I thought they made some tough ones early. Davison, he's a really good player, and they made some really tough ones early. I know it's going to be, we're going to go back there. It's going to be a completely different game in terms of how they shoot the ball. They missed some open ones, but they also, I think we were forced some tough ones. And again, our zone helped.
You touched on your frontline versatility a moment ago. EJ, obviously, and even to a certain extent, Kyle, I think, have done a pretty good job of kind of decking it and attacking from the perimeter, getting to the rim. But both of those guys, just how much of a weapon is that for your offense?
I think it's so important in today's game to have versatile frontline guys. I just think it's so important because it gives you flexibility and freedom in your offense. I don't think you can have a top 10 offense and elite offense without versatility on your front line, the ability to deck it, and really in some cases be 3-level scorers. So we continue to try to recruit that way with the versatility at the forward position. Now Kyle's really grown. Obviously we talked about his shooting, but also his ability to deck it. But I think you're right. I think it's so important if you're going to be able to attack defenses.
And Michi had a really nice spurt there in the second half, a couple threes, steal, assist. And there were other times too where it felt to me like the pace that he was playing with kind of changed the dynamic of the game a little bit. I know he's still very young, but when he's on, how much do you think he has an ability to do that kind of stuff?
I liked, you mentioned his pace, his speed, but I also thought he changed speeds tonight well. He had a really good play on the break where he just made simple, easy plays. I think we're seeing growth out of those young guys. Malachi had a great week. He struggled tonight, but had a great week. I think we're seeing growth out of those young guys. But we also need a guy like Jamari and Cedric to give us, at times just stabilize us a little bit, and those guys did that. But yeah, I agree with you. I thought Michi making a couple shots that were kind of time and space threes where he had a chance to get his feet set. He made some good decisions. Made a really good pass on a reject to Sed in the first half. So really happy for him.
I guess zoom in. You're 2-0 in conference play before Christmas. What does that mean to you? And as you dive back into non-conference play, what does it mean to have those games in your back pocket now?
It's important to get off to a good start. I think we've been 2-0 once or twice here, maybe before, but it's nice to get off to a good start. But the schedule has ebbs and flows to it, right? You have stretches where you play more road games in a while. So I don't really make too much of, makes your Christmas a little better. That's for sure. But outside of that, I don't make too big a deal of it. But
to get through those two games and to get to in conference play with the young guys playing that the way they did in those two games, how important is that to be able to, once these 3 non-conference games are over, when you go back into conference play, to look at those two games and say, look at this is what you guys did in those two games, now can it translate?
Yeah, I think it's really important. Getting those guys, young guys, experience in league play. At Penn State, which we knew was going to be a tough game because any road Big Ten game is. I think that it's really important that those guys, and it's not just the young guys, but outside of Jamari, it's the new guys like Cedric who have never played against Wisconsin or haven't been on the road in the Big Ten. We're going to run into some incredible environments. Our young guys, I think it helped us playing in some really good ones, and it just helps those guys getting experience here.
Early in the season, before everything started, you talked about wanting to have consistency, offense, defense after last year. You wanted to be top, whatever in both. You got some good stuff from Michi today on the defensive side. Got some good stuff from Justin today. Do you think this team is starting to find their defensive identity? Are they where you want them to be, or just kind of still getting there?
We're a work in progress, but we've been better on that end this year. Our numbers would suggest that, and we have been, but we're still a work in progress. It's still a challenge. Jake's doing a great job at with our system, but we're still a work in progress because we're coming off our worst defensive effort of the year, so we got to be more consistent.
You guys just beat another top 25 team. The Duke win's huge, Seton Hall win's huge, but it's not just about beating them. You kind of dominated there in the second half. What does that do for the mentality of this team?
I think it gives them some confidence. I think they were able to listen. Our group, being down 15 at home to the #1 team in the country, coming back from that, I think certainly gave our groups some needed confidence. EJ mentioned that. But listen, you're only as good as the way you perform on that given night. So there's no guarantees towards anything, but certainly to be 2-0, to play well, to beat a good team at home feels good, and I think gives our guys the belief that if we continue to get better, we can put ourselves in position to win.
Talked a lot about the schedule this season just because of next game just gets tougher and tougher. How quickly does the attention shift to next Saturday, and how is the team doing with all of these tough games without much of a break?
Yeah, this was a busy stretch here. I think we all needed a mental break. I know I need a mental break and a couple cold beverages for sure. So I'm sure that our players need a mental break and some Gatorade. I just think it's been a rough stretch. We'll turn the page really to getting better. We have finals this week, so it's a big week for them academically. We'll turn the page to getting better, and we'll talk about Saturday. We know it's going to be a road environment in a lot of ways, and playing an elite team. But let's enjoy this one here for a moment.
Chris, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Cliff.
Adam?
I'll defer.
All righty. I know you probably got your guards where you want them, but if a little Cedric Russell is good, is a lot better, or you kind of don't want to upset the apple cart there?
Yeah, no, I think he's got to keep playing well and earning the right to play more. And I think we have some young guys that are going to continue to play. Cedric really stabilized us. I didn't think Ced was as ready to play last game. I thought he was really ready to play today, and he was terrific. But I think that'll be pretty fluid throughout the season.
You mentioned finals and a chance to catch your breath a little bit. You have a week to reflect on being 10 games in. What do you think you're going to spend this week doing? Where do you, I guess, taking stock of your team through 10 games and actually having the chance to do some analyzing? What do you think this week might tell you about where you are?
A lot of film study of our own team. I think I'm spending 3 days recruiting. So my week will be consumed really with those two things: 3 days recruiting and then a lot of film study of our team and looking at ways that maybe we can improve in those areas.
And we've talked about the turnovers, we've talked about the young guys, talked about all these different things that you've had to adapt and deal with to get to this point of the season. You've had to sort of change course with the Justice injury. To be sitting here right now and you're 8-2 and you're 2-0 in the Big Ten, what has it taken to overcome something like that? And I know you're not a finished product product. It's a long season, but it could have gone in a very different direction when you lose a player like that.
Yeah, no, I've been really pleased with, I think, two things, Adam. The leadership of our group. I don't want to underestimate that. I think when you combine Justin, EJ, Kyle, now Jamari, who's kind of those guys have taken a real leadership role. I've been really pleased with that. And I think that's so important. When you start out and drop a couple and you struggle on the road, and so leadership. Been really pleased with that, and I've been really pleased with our progress and the fact that we have gotten better. But we've got to keep. We've got to keep improving in those areas. But yeah, to be where we're at right now feels good, given the loss of I think a couple really important players. But obviously, we know how important Justice was to us last year.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Greg.